Newshour Special Edition.
Hello and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. This is the Newshour Special Edition this Saturday evening and I'm Hina Gambhir. 1,000 years, countless invasions, yet Somnath stands tall. A temple that was looted, razed and attacked time and again but never defeated. Today it remains not just a place of worship but a timeless symbol of faith, resilience and pride. And now, paying tribute to that unbroken legacy, Prime Minister Narendra Modi went to the iconic Somnath Temple as part of the Somnath Swabhiman Parv, a grand celebration marking 1,000 years since Mahmud of Ghazni's invasion and 75 years since its modern reconstruction when it was opened for the first time for the devotees. He went there, he offered prayers, he also took part in the Omkar chanting that's going on as we speak. It's going to go on for 72 long hours and you can see the visuals on your screens. Then there was a spectacular drone show as well in the sky, which narrated the entire story. A story that the country must hear, a story that the world must also see. Now, this visit of the Prime Minister, viewers, isn't just symbolic. It's deeply spiritual and historical. In fact, before this, in an op-ed titled The Story of Somnath, Prime Minister Modi called the temple an eternal proclamation of India's soul and a living testament to civilisational resilience. He wrote, and I'm quoting him here, "There is no better example of our civilization's indomitable spirit than Somnath." In fact, talking about Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Prime Minister Modi said the opening of the temple in 1951 did not enthuse him. He said that in 1951, the Grand Temple opened its doors to devotees, but the then Prime Minister, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, was not too enthused with this development. The opposition used this very statement of the Prime Minister to attack the BJP. Leading the charge was Congress Party. Reiterating their stand, the Congress Party is demanding a collection of all the shortcomings of Pandit Nehru from BJP and a final discussion on it, something that Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, the Congress MP, said in the Parliament a couple of weeks ago. And then, on the other hand, BJP continues to maintain its stand, targeting Nehru for his hatred towards Somnath. Listen in to the war of words.
Independent, it was Mr. Nehru who had a typical hatred for Somnath. He never wanted to reconstruct the temple. But today it's there. It's the duty of national heads always to promote your traditions, your values, which Nehru chose to ignore because he never considered Hindu culture as his own culture.
What Priyanka Gandhi ji has said on the floor of the parliament, I will repeat the same. They should collect all shortcomings of Nehru ji, compile a book and do the criticism to the hilt. He is on tour and he is a theologian. And better he should resign and become a religious teacher.
Because Somnath is not just a place of worship, it is a symbol of faith that refused to fall, identity that refused to fade and heritage that continues to inspire. Over the next 24 hours also, we are going to see Prime Minister Narendra Modi taking part in more celebrations at the Somnath Temple as India celebrates this Parv, this very, very important moment. But on the other hand, there is politics that's also happening. So to discuss it, I'm joined on the broadcast by my guests. We have Shantanu Gupta, who is an author, live with us. Kamruzaman Chaudhary, who is a political analyst. Sanju Verma, national spokesperson of the BJP, is also joining us. Professor Atikur Rahman, political analyst, is live with us as well. Good evening to all of you. Thank you very much for joining us here on Times Now. Let me begin this discussion with you, Sanju Verma. You heard this comment that came from Udit Raj of the Congress Party on a day we saw Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the Somnath Temple talking about the importance of that temple, because there is a message in what that temple faced over last 1,000 years that people of this country must know, that the people of this world must also be aware of. And it's a story of resilience. And you heard Udit Raj saying that Prime Minister Modi is on a tour. He should resign and become a religious teacher. How will you like to respond to these kind of comments?
My first argument is Udit Raj is a rabble-rouser, Udit Raj is a blabbermouth, and Udit Raj barely makes any sense. But coming to the more serious point, I think you gave a very nice introduction, Hina. And I would just like to take you back to what Prime Minister Modi wrote in his now widely read and famous blog on the Somnath Temple, where he says, Somnath Temple is a story of courage. Despite repeated attacks since 1026, Somnath always stood as a mark of resilience, mark of courage, mark of bravery, mark of sacrifice. Don't forget, ancient day Somnath was not just about a grand temple. Somnath was also the epitome of India's maritime progress. And don't forget, in a famous speech in 1951, and prior to that, I think the most important speech is one by Swami Vivekananda in 1897 in Chennai, where he actually said that Somnath epitomizes, all the strengths of modern architecture. My limited point is this. It is not about Somnath. You look at the Ujjain Mahakal corridor. You look at the, Kashi Vishwanath corridor. You look at the rejuvenation and reconstruction of, the Somnath Temple. A modern day reconstruction started under Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Prior to that, in the 18th century, after it was destroyed by Mahmud Ghazni, Muzaffar Shah, Alauddin Khilji, right. We saw, Ahilyabai Holkar reconstructing it. The key point is this, Hina, that under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, I don't think there is any other leader in post-independent India who's combined Vikas and Astha, growth and spiritual renaissance. India's development and progress has completely embraced our spiritual, cultural and traditional renaissance. And I think Prime Minister Modi wears his Hindutva on his sleeves unapologetically. Right. I think that's the most important point that I need to drive home to your audience. He's not scared of saying, I'm a proud Hindu.
Okay. And Anurag Naidu, political analyst, also joins us on this debate. Good evening to you. But Kamruzaman Chaudhary, to you first. How would you like to respond to this remark by Sanju Verma? Because it's a story of two contrasts. On one hand, what the Prime Minister cited that Sanju Verma was quoting from his blog post, wherein he talked about Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and, what happened under his regime with the Somnath Temple, and what is now happening under NDA when Prime Minister Narendra Modi is there. He is also the chairman of the Somnath Trust because he is the Prime Minister, and what we are witnessing today. So how will you like to respond? Could you unmute yourself, Mr. Kamruzaman Chaudhary?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Hina, actually, Sanju Verma ji has very eloquently proclaimed what we all were afraid to discuss so far along, that India is not yet a Hindu Rashtra. Her statement would have made sense if India's constitution was changed to be declared as a Hindu Rashtra. Point number one. Now, coming to the basic point that of debate today, rather I can say it's not a debate, but rather a symbolism played by the Prime Minister of a secular nation and used for publicity and narrative control, nothing more, nothing less. Because you see the entire events, heavy emphasis on the grand rituals like the 72-hour Omkar chanting, drone shows, Shaurya Yatra, hashtags like the Somnath Swabhiman Parv on social media, and the Prime Minister's own post. What do you see as? I see it as a branding and a media spectacle, more than a sober, a cultural moment of our India's history. The memorialization of our history, that should have been the 1000th year. And you make a comparison whether Jawaharlal Nehru today, how would he have celebrated the entire event today? Would he have made it into a media spectacle? Would he have made it into a majoritarian exercise? Would he have made it into a cultural show, a national pride, a moment of national pride? Or would he have gone into potential messaging to hit to the particular section of the society?
Okay.
And you very well know which section of the society. Because, you know, Hina, one more point, just simple point. A prime minister of a secular nation, till the time the country has not become a Hindutva or Hindu Rashtra, till that time, this act does not cater to anything else except to cater to a particular vote bank that his party caters to.
Okay. Yeah. So you've used, you know, couple of important phrases, I would call them. Media spectacle, you've called it a majoritarian exercise, you've called it you know, a cultural show, etc., etc. Shantanu Gupta, how will you like to respond to this kind of a comment coming in from Kamruzaman Chaudhary, wherein the view is that the idea is to just cater to a certain section of the society? However, if we look at the story that drone show was in a way trying to convey, that this Parv is trying to convey, it's a story of Somnath. Somnath is a symbol of resilience, of faith. It has endured not just invasion, it symbolizes that what we as a civilization have built and then rebuilt. But then you have people who are seeing religion here as if the idea is to just cater to a particular section of the society. How will you like to respond to people like Kamruzaman Chaudhary?
Yeah, I'm not surprised, and I could not have expected anything more or less from Kamruzaman Chaudhary ji. See, people like Kamruzaman ji, they derive their idea of secularism from the Harvards and Oxfords of the world. Harvard is in US. Have you seen the oath of any US president? They take oath on a Bible, and before the ceremony, they go to a particular church in Washington, D.C., and after the oath, they go to a particular church in Washington, D.C. And that's the part of official ceremony. From the Oxford, come to Oxford and Cambridge, there in the upper house, like Rajya Sabha, they have House of Lords, they have 22 positions reserved for the Church of England. And from there they derive their idea of secularism. See, every country has a mool tattva, mool nature. India is a Hindu nation in that regard. India's mool nature comes from Hindustan, the word even Hindustan. You know, from very near to Delhi, where Mewar, till 20 years back, they were fere in their marriages. The woman used to wear a sindoor and a bichia till 20 years back. Then the Wahhabi element came and they started wearing burqa. So in India, that's in the ethos of India. Ram is the hero for everyone, from Hindu and Muslim. It's the story, and similarly the story of Somnath is a story of perseverance. That it was broken from Muhammad Ghazni to Zafar Khan to Alauddin Khilji to Aurangzeb, and also in a way Nehru, ideologically. And then they are building again. The people are building. While the destructions are happening, this is the moment to even thank King Bhimadev Solanki, King Karampal, King Mahipal, and Ahilyabai Holkar, and then Sardar Patel and K.M. Munshi put their weight behind. Someone like Dr. Rajendra Prasad, in spite of letter after letter from Jawaharlal Nehru, he attended the ceremony. And today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In fact, we should be feeling very lucky. I thought Ram Mandir and Kashi Corridor and Ujjain Corridor and Somnath Corridor will be TV debates and some books and maybe PhD thesis. But we are seeing this with naked eyes, that a Prime Minister of the country is standing with the culture. When Obama or Trump stand with the culture, they're fine. When your presidents and Prime Ministers of UK and other countries stand with their culture, they're fine. But when the Indian Prime Minister stand with its root culture, they say, no, the secularism khatre mein hai. Okay. I think, but people have rejected such thought, I think. And that's why you see lakhs and lakhs are greeting in your screen currently Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
Okay, quick rebuttal, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, then I'll go across to Professor Atikur Rehman.
My argument was not against any culture. We are very proud of our ancient culture. But
you did say that he is doing it for a particular vote bank, for a particular community. Otherwise, why would you call it a majoritarian exercise?
The symbolism that our Prime Minister, Honorable Modi ji does it hits the entire nation. Being a secular nation, being a country which has a constitution, which could not be seen or should not be seen as facilitating space for a particular religion. That's my limited point
Professor
out here.
Atikur Rahman, even if, let's go by the argument that Kamruzaman Chaudhary has made on this debate, even if he is catering to a particular segment, my question is it hurting anyone at all in the country? Is it detrimental to the interest of others in this country?
Yeah, that's a very important question, Hina. A person holding a constitutional position, if he is swearing and wearing a religion on his sleeve, is it hurting the sentiments of others, or is it in any way impediment to the development of the Indian society, the Indian culture? Hina, I am a very common citizen of India. I am a very practicing Muslim. I was a lecturer in more than 3-5 colleges in Mumbai, but I never wore my religion on my sleeve. I was not constitutionally under oath. Our prime ministers are under constitutional oaths. Now the choice is between two sorts of people, two sorts of prime minister. The Indian people have to either choose or have to make their icons. One is agnostic Prime Minister Nehru, who swore that he was not into any religiosity. He delivered scientific temperament, he delivered aims, he delivered IITs, and today we have a Prime Minister who preaches and practices religiosity, bigotry, dogma. The people have a very fine choice. If they are voting for Prime Minister Modi, we can have an Indian society full of bigotry and dogma.
Sanju Verma, quick response.
First and foremost, I completely debunk, what Atikur Rahman has said about the Prime Minister. You are lucky that you're sitting here and abusing the Prime Minister, and people like you still complain there is no freedom of speech और मुसलमान खतरे में हैं. मुसलमान खतरे में होते तो आप यहाँ बैठकर प्रधानमंत्री मोदी के बारे में इतना अनाप शनाप नहीं बोल रहे होते. Now let me just say one thing, Hina. Let's not hide the uncomfortable truth under the carpet. In a letter on 2nd March 1951, and the Prime Minister has made reference to what Nehru wrote to the then President Rajendra Prasad, and rightfully so, because Nehru's hypocrisy needs to be called out. The Darbari ecosystem's hypocrisy needs to be called out. He wrote to Rajendra Prasad saying, "Dear Rajendra Babu, I confess I do not like the idea of you associating yourself with a spectacular opening of the Somnath Temple, blah, 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 blah. It reeks of Hindu revivalism." Nehru did not want a grand inauguration of Somnath Temple.
Yes, that point was made by the Prime Minister very clearly in the blog post also that he put out, which you mentioned earlier also. I want to go across to now Anurag Naidu as well. Anurag Naidu, there are some on this debate who are saying that Prime Minister visiting a temple in this country is not secular. Then what about iftars by Vice Presidents and Chief Ministers in the past?
Yeah, Hina, I think Prime Minister clearly unsettled some people, and I think it's fun to watch people getting unsettled like that. That's fine. But you need to understand, these are the same set of people who would celebrate and share the reels and posts of Rishi Sunak when he and his constitutional chair would wear Hinduism on his sleeves, be proud Hindu, go to the temples, worship. And we know the demography, we know the religious composition of the UK right now, but people, Mr. Sunak or anyone is proud of being a Hindu. But it's not about, in the case of Somnath, what is more worrying is it is absolutely not about religion at all. It is an example of, look, Indian civilization has traditionally, as a matter of culture, trade, economics, have been around these temple towns, whether it is Somnath, Kashi, Tanjavur, Madurai, these are the examples. These are the cities that define us as a country. These were economic superpowers, not just economic superpowers. These were the gateways for trade. These were the gateways for diplomacy. These were the gateways for innovation. These cities were the driving force for India forever. And what is wrong for a prime minister to celebrate this? 1,000 years is a big deal. No matter how many invaders we had, no matter how many people tried to break it down, it is the devotees and the people who again rebuilt it. It is a mark of resilience. It is a mark, and it is not about hate. It is not about hate. These are the same people who would laud, the set of people who would go and repair the churches and other, setups abroad in Europe and other places. But the same thing when they see the entire corridor being developed. I think this is fundamentally, in principle, if you see the Prime Minister's vision, is to revive the temple towns and purely keeping in mind the people and the well-being of the people around that.
Right. I know Shantanu Gupta wants to respond, but before that, I want to quickly go across to Kamruzaman Chaudhary. I mean, what is wrong if we are talking about resilience through this particular story? Is it not a fact that Somnath Temple was attacked multiple times, and today in 2026, 1,000 years later, it stands tall? Is it not a story of faith, of resilience? And it's something that happened on our soil. If the Prime Minister is talking about it, if the Prime Minister is highlighting its story, why target him by saying that he's catering to one particular vote bank? And what about Rajiv Gandhi starting his Ayodhya 1989 campaign from Ayodhya? What about Rahul Gandhi starting his Gujarat campaign with Narmada Aarti, and Rahul Gandhi also portrayed at that time as a Shiv Bhakt? What was all of that? Was that also only for votes?
No. Hina, you have asked a lot too many questions to answer in this debate. That will require a lot of time to answer.
I asked you one simple question. I asked you one simple question. If that was not catering to a vote bank, then how is this catering to a vote bank?
Listen, Hina, what my basic argument so far was that the entire Somnath Swabhiman Parv was focused on the spiritual and the religious legacy of a Hindu temple, which was destroyed thousands of years ago. So where we had some violent past history.
No, are you trying to say this day should not be celebrated? This 1,000-year anniversary should not be celebrated?
No. Why not? The Prime Minister of a secular country participating in the puja, chants, yatra, drone show. What does it symbolize? It symbolizes the
Shantanu Gupta, the British government led by Prime Minister sitting in churches watching kings and queens is secular.
And from the Oxfords and Cambridges and Harvards of the world, they derive their sense of secularism. They teach us secularism, and their Prime Minister and President take oath on the Bibles. And as I told you, from last 200 years, every US president goes to a particular church in Washington, D.C. before the oath and after the oath. And Harvard on the word and Kamru Jamal Chaudhary of the word will not say anything. Oh my God, they are the messiahs of secularism. But when my Prime Minister stands with the culture of the country, oh my God, all of a sudden he becomes, he's not secular. I'm saying, this is a joke, and people of, luckily from last 10 years, people of India...
Kamruzaman Chaudhary, then very quickly, Sanju Verma. 10 seconds each, yes.
Yes. Now, very small question out here. It's very good the Prime Minister has come to the Somnath Temple 1000 years event. Very good. Now, as a secular head of the state, has he ever visited the Ajmer Dargah Sharif to lay the chadar? He always sends it through some emissary. If he is a secular enough of a secular
then also
nation,
you will say that he's trying to cater to a particular vote bank. Because when he goes to celebrate Christmas with the members of the Christian community, then also you try and, give some communal angle to the whole thing. Anyway, Sanju Verma, please respond, then Professor Atikur Rahman.
Hina, very quickly, which is that one Prime Minister who's visited the Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque in the UAE? He's visited the Grand Istiqlal Mosque in Indonesia. He's visited the Omar Ali Saifuddin Mosque in Brunei. He's visited the Al-Hakim Mosque in Egypt. He's visited the Sultan Qaboos Grand Mosque in Oman. It is Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And Hina, problem kahan hai? Taking off from what Shantanu said, I got some numbers very quickly in 2 seconds. Last year in 2025, 7.3 crore people visited Varanasi. 4.2 crore people visited the Ujjain Mahakaleshwar temple. But do you know how many people visited Ayodhya?
Yes.
24 crore people visited Ayodhya. इसलिए इनके पेट में इतना दर्द होता है.
चलिए Professor Atikur Rahman, closing comments, 10 seconds, then Anurag. 10 seconds each. Please restrict your comment to that. Yes.
Hina, that's the whole point. You know, the sooner we get rid of the political class participating either in iftar parties or any other religiosity, that's my whole objection. In fact, we should have learned from the Western
Then Anurag
countries
Naidu, everybody
that
should
they
stop.
parted
Everybody
politics
should
with
stop
the
it,
church.
isn't it? 10 seconds
Maybe
only.
they are swearing in the name of church, but still, they parted it.
Okay.
And that's the
Anurag,
reason-
Anurag.
Hina, quickly, whether it is Prime Minister or normal citizen of this country, a faith or a religion is a very, very personal thing. We do not hold any right to let it open to public debates. And also understand, Hina, all this temple redevelopment, this was not basic temple, these were corridor development. These are the entire cities being developed. And one last thing, Hina, Somnath stands not because it was never broken, but because it was never forgotten, and we will never forget it.
Absolutely.
This is the mark.
There is a message. That's what, perhaps the Prime Minister is trying to give through this visit. I'm completely out of time, but thank you very much, all of you, for joining us here on this debate. Heading into a short break, debate number 2 coming up next. Stay with us.
The News Hour Special Edition.